Asus announced a bunch of really cool laptops today, but the two that were most interesting to me were these two here, and I really wanted to get them in to show you guys. So the first is the Strix Scar 17 Special Edition. This is the most powerful laptop you can get in the world right now. This is running the new Intel HX chip. It is crazy powerful, like literally desktop performance in a laptop. And it's in this new chassis with the cool like ultraviolet link at the top of it. It's pretty wild. There's also the new Flow X16. This is the first true hybrid gaming laptop. The screen goes all the way back, put in like different modes and stuff, but it's running a 3070 Ti and it's still really thin because the cooling system here is really special. But the cherry on the top, it's running a mini LED screen, like a high refresh rate, fast response time gaming panel, but it's mini LED. Okay, let's start off with this thing, the super powerful Strix Scar SE. And the chip in here is the 12950HX from Intel. And this chip was very unexpected. So normally when Intel comes out with a new generation of mobile or like laptop chip, they come up with the best stuff right off the rip. This year, they already came out with the 12900HK, which we reviewed, I don't know, 4 months ago or whatever. Fantastic chip. I thought that thing was final boss because it was so good. This thing comes out and it's seriously 20 or 25% faster. It just dominates in benchmarks. It's super fast for video edits. It's amazing with Blender. It's amazing with any application that can take advantage of lots of cores. It's not a huge difference in most games compared to like the regular 12th gen stuff because most games lean more heavily on the GPU than the CPU. But if you're looking for the fastest possible performance with a gaming laptop, it's right here, baby. This is literally the fastest thing out there. Now these components are packaged into the 17-inch Strix Scar chassis with a few tweaks, so the big one being the ultraviolet ink that's on the top of this device. If you look at this area under normal lighting conditions, you can't really see much, but when light from the UV spectrum hits it, it reveals a series of these ROG glyphs and messages in this blue and neon green metallic ink. It's pretty cool. And they do include the ultraviolet flashlight in the box. Just be careful where you aim this thing in your bedroom. Okay, so the panel itself is a 17-inch panel. It's high res, it's got good color reproduction, but it could be a little bit brighter. So this is kind of like the standard screen that Asus includes with their high-end gaming devices, like the 17-inch ones. It's super fast for games, great response time, but it's only like 300 nits and change. So for me, I could use a brighter screen because there are certain games that are really dark. We want things to pop when they should, even in the darkness. This screen struggles with that. It is a 16:9 aspect ratio, so there's a bit of a chin at the bottom of the panel. I personally don't mind it, and I prefer this type of aspect ratio for shooters, but there's also a RGB light strip at the bottom of that chin, and there's also RGB for the keyboard, RGB at the bottom of the laptop. This is a very well-lit device, and you also have the ROG keystone for the different user profiles if you want to use it. The keyboard and the trackpad remain unchanged from the regular Strix Scar Edition. They're both pretty solid. But the internals is where you'll see the biggest difference. So it's a vapor chamber that covers both the CPU and the GPU, and Asus is running liquid metal on both components, so both the CPU and GPU have Conductonaut on it. The VRMs are also very well cooled, and thermally, they've done an excellent job on this device. This laptop can handle the huge amount of wattage that the CPU can use. So if you're just using the CPU and nothing else, like if you're just doing like a benchmark or some kind of CPU heavy application, this chip will pull 140 watts, and this laptop can sustain it comfortably. It gets warm, but it doesn't get crazy hot, and the fan noise isn't super loud or anything. If you're gaming and you're pushing the CPU and GPU both hard at the same time, this system pulls a lot of juice. At peak, I saw this thing push almost 240 watts. It's incredibly power hungry, but this system can handle it. It really is just that chip. It's a 16-core chip. It's a big chip, and big chips need big juice. Okay, so inside you're also seeing 2 NVMEs, 2 RAM slots, and a 90 watt-hour battery. And the battery life I got on my test wasn't amazing. I got a little bit less than 4 hours on this system with like 250 nits on the screen. So not a great performance in terms of battery life, but holy smokes, this thing delivers on performance everywhere else. Okay, so that's the Asus Strix Scar 17 Special Edition. Really long name, super powerful system. Next up, we have the Flow X16. It's similar in idea to the X13 from a couple years ago, but now it's with a bigger screen, and it's just a way more capable system because this is running very powerful stuff. It's running a 6900HS from AMD and a reasonably high wattage 3070 Ti, and it's packaged in something that's quite thin, right? So in terms of its footprint, it's similar to the G15 and M16 in terms of just like the surface area of the device. It's 2 kilograms, so a little bit heavier than G15, but it's still quite portable. Now, the design aesthetic is very similar to me to the Flow X13. So it's got that linear design aesthetic, and I've always liked this look. It's got that kind of industrial vibe without it being like super game or anything, and it's quite unique to this product line, right? Not a lot of tech products have this. It's a nice look, and it's got that magnesium alloy finish. It's durable. It's a nice, like a really nice design aesthetic. I kind of wish more of Asus's product used this exact finish. But what makes it special is how complete this package is. So it's got the ability to like flip around and be kind of 2-in-1-y, right? But the screen is what ties everything together. So this is an awesome screen. 16 by 10 aspect ratio, super bright. It can peak up to 1100 nits. It's high res, high refresh, fast response time. They're claiming 3 milliseconds. My testing is a little bit higher, but this is an engineering sample. We'll see what the retail units bring in. But this display is running mini LEDs, and mini LED technology is so nice when it comes to gaming and for viewing content. So unlike a traditional panel with just a single large lighting zone, mini LEDs have a lot of lighting zones, and that allows for local dimming. So here we're looking at 512 zones that will automatically get brighter and dimmer based on the image that's being displayed. So for a brighter scene or like a brighter portion of a scene, those lighting zones will get turned up. And then for scenes or sections of scenes that are darker, the lighting will dim down. And what you get is a contrast ratio that is unlike anything you can possibly get on a regular IPS panel. Black sections are really close to being a proper black instead of being like a gray. And then whites are very bright white. Like a pure white looks very bright on the screen, especially when you're looking at HDR content. Great for gaming, great for making content, great for viewing content, and it also has pen support for people that want to use it for any kind of digital illustration. Now, internally, we're looking at some really cool stuff as well. So this device has 2 things that jumped out at me when I first popped it open. First thing is 2 RAM slots. Asus normally doesn't do that with this kind of chassis design. Like the G15, the M16, doesn't matter which year, it's always 1 stick of replaceable RAM and the rest is soldered on. Now, the user gets both RAM slots upgradable, which is huge. There's 2 NVMe's, there's 2 fans, but there's also a 3rd fan right in the middle of the case. And this is unlike anything we've seen from Asus before, but the idea of it is to suck in cold air, blow it across the heat pipes, and then out the back of the system. Now, traditionally, when it comes to gaming laptops or performance laptops, the fans don't blow air across this area. Like there could be multiple fans in a system, but because of the foam cutouts or depending on how they've done it, they're trying to direct the airflow so it just hits the heat sinks and just exhausts it out. This area in the middle is usually just left hot and they just deal with it, right? This is actually an interesting way of cooling things down. So on the X16, the heatsink runs along the whole length of the back of the laptop. Now, because this is an engineering sample, I can't benchmark it, at least not legally. I was told not to. But I will say this, I tested a bunch of stuff on it, just out of curiosity, and it works. Like straight up, this can easily handle the heat that this system can put out. Now it's an AMD chip, so they're not like 150 watts like we saw with the Intel design, but it's very capable. And to see this kind of performance and this kind of like graphical capability in a 2-in-1, it just hasn't existed before. Especially not in a package that looks like this. I really like this system. Now it does have a bunch of the features that exist on the Flow product. So the big thing is their XG mobile connection. So this is their external GPU that Asus makes for the Flow products, and they continue to support it. And it's really cool that they added it to the new Flow product. Like there was this concern a couple years ago. They're like, are they really going to keep going with it because external GPUs are so niche? But we're seeing it again. It's not like a huge feature to me, but it's nice to see. The battery in here is 90 watt hours. And from my initial testing, it's like a 5-hour battery. This is an engineering sample, so it's probably going to change a little bit with the retail unit. The clear thing though to me is that this has good battery life. It's a bigger screen, it's got like a powerful unit, but because it's AMD, lower wattage, it's a pretty solid system. Now, both of these devices, I don't know the pricing on them. Like I was shooting this before they revealed the pricing to me, but I have a feeling this super powerful Intel one is going to be quite expensive. I hope this thing is not like crazy expensive, but I think both of them are just really cool. Now, thank you for watching this video. I think this is the stuff I love to do, right? To have access to this, to be able to see it and review it and share it with you guys, like that's the best stuff. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys next time.